All right, bros, let's talk about Meghan Markle. So, obviously, there's a lot to unpack here. Um, First off, let me start out by saying everything that's revolving around the royal family is pretty much phony propaganda, pretty much just Hollywood. Like, it's all just a outward show. I don't think any of these people in the royal family have any real intrinsic value. The one that even had a semblance of intrinsic value was Princess Diana. Um, maybe. It's not to say that maybe her children aren't good people. It's not to say that maybe there's some good people within the royal family. Maybe. Um, but what do they actually do? You know, what do they do? What do they bring to the table? What are they doing for the world? They're just puppets. They're just props. They don't really do anything. It's an old system that died out a long time ago. There's no actual real power there. I don't even think they have power to. I don't even think the royal family has power to veto anything or has power to do anything as far as the UK government is concerned. I don't think so. I could be wrong on that, but I really don't think so. I think it's just for namesake or whatever, just a kind of token, if you will. So let me start out by saying that I think that particularly America has a lot of kind of fairy tale. I wouldn't use the word nostalgia. That's not the right word. Kind of fairy tale, you know, concepts about the royal family. Oh, they're royal, and this dates back to ancient times, and it's like, okay, so, like, so what? Is there anything really respectable about England or the UK? I mean, I think it's an interesting culture. Outside of Japan, I think the UK has one of the most interesting cultures in the world. I mean, there's all kinds of cultures that are interesting and amazing. UK is one of them, but to me, like I think there's definitely a mystique there. There's an aesthetic um, to England and the UK, and also, being a white American myself, a Caucasian American, there's probably something in my DNA that goes, those are my ancestors. But, also objectively, they were a brutal people. What I think it's King Leopold or one of those guys, absolutely brutalized Africa. Okay. Horrible, near genocide of, I think it was Africa. I believe India as well. They did a lot. I mean, they were one of the most ruthless, brutal empires in the history of the world. They were colonizers. They tried to conquer the world. They got backed out eventually. God was like, nope, you ain't doing that. Anyway, man, England is what it is. It's an ancient relic. So with that said, it's interesting to now I could right now veer into like a conspiracy theory thread but I won't. With the Queen of England, and there's stuff there to unpack, but I won't do that because I just don't want to. I really want to talk about Meghan Markle, really. So what? First of all, I want to talk about what she represents, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about her recent, the whole debacle and the whole just crazy story of how she's going about with Harry. So first of all, I will say this: she's more important than Prince William. Harry's more important than Prince William. Now, I will say Harry is better looking than Prince William. He's more Chad. He's more traditionally good looking. He's losing his hair on the back, but he hasn't lost his hair in the front yet. He's just better looking, which means he's gonna, people who are better looking, particularly in a vain society that we live in, where Hollywood really is kind of the trendsetter. Everything is about aesthetics. Everything is about hotness, and it's not about intrinsic value at all. I don't really know anything about Harry. All I know is he served in the military. You know, he doesn't talk much because it's all they can't. It's very, very difficult to get to know who they really are, and who knows if they really even do have a quality personality. Anyways, once you get to know them, because it's like, imagine living like that. You know, imagine being in that position and your whole life. It's not a position of power. It's just this position of honor that you didn't earn, and even reverence that you didn't earn. And so your whole life you're going to be just revered by people you don't know and who don't know you, and you know, they don't know your demons and you don't share your demons, and you know, who are you? And it's like, it doesn't matter who you are, because all that matters is your bloodline. And it's creepy, it's cringy. It's just like, why are we putting these people on a pedestal and all they did was be born? It's kind of similar to women. It's like we put women on a pedestal and all they were was born. And it's just like, you didn't earn that. Particularly good looking women, like, you did not earn that. You were just lucky. You're genetically lucky. And that really goes for all good looking people in general. You didn't earn it. You just got lucky. Now there's some uptake. There's some upkeep, right? You gotta, you gotta hit the gym, eat right. Now I respect that. So I'm sure that, Harry and William and these guys, I mean, they've done things. They've maintained their upkeep. They've maintained the image of royalty and being the royal family. And there's work there involved, right? But we place this insane reverence on these people, and they didn't do anything. It's just silly. It's like, we have this. There's something about the human psyche and the human spirit, I guess you could say. Not the biblical human spirit, but I always mess this word up. I think it's hubris. I might be wrong. I'll just say essence. We want to uplift something. We need heroes. This is why hero movies are so popular. We need something to, and really it's a selfish need, because we need these heroes in order to feel better about ourselves. Like, oh, hey, that guy made it. This guy's talented. This guy's great. I can, maybe I can do something. Maybe I can. It just makes us feel, it gives us hope. And so I guess in a sense, I can see how that would be for these people. Like, it kind of, we need something to look up to. If there was no excellence, if there was no quote unquote royalty in this world, people in positions of power, then we'd feel, you would think hypothetically, like, oh, everything would be equal. But it's really, you would actually feel kind of barren. You would feel kind of, you would feel a little void. Like, well, we're all just these gray beings, We're all just this homogenous human life form. So in a way, you would feel kind of void. So in a sense, I guess they're kind of fulfilling a purpose in a way, because it gives people hope. But it's a cringy thing at this point, because it's like, really, this is ancient. This is a relic. This is antiquity. This is something that is rustic. It's rusted. It's like, what do we give a crap about these people? They don't actually do anything. The whole nobility era is over, and good. It should be over. I mean, the modern era is far superior, but yet we still have something within us that wants to uplift. So it's almost like we kind of, these are kind of pedestalized, uplifted relics. And they're our age, and they're our generation, and it's just this weird thing because it's a bloodline, right? So it's this thing that really doesn't do anything at this point, because the UK Parliament or UK government, whatever they call it, is really the ones who have effect, really the ones who have power, which, by the way, the UK has a lot of messed up laws for men. I don't even want to get into that. Maybe someday I'll make a video on that, but good Lord. Anyway, I mean, you can Google that. You can look that up and do your own due diligence on that. It's pretty messed up. It's a lot worse than the West. I mean, they don't even have freedom of speech in a lot of ways over there. But anyway, so it doesn't, the royal family doesn't really do anything, yet we place all this honor on them, which is really just undue. So it's a whole, it is a system that is really, really supple, if you will, or ample for this kind of bullshit. And when I say this kind of bullshit, I'm talking about Meghan Markle. And I believe a lot of things in life are done by design. And I believe there's nefarious design. I believe that there is an evil design that really is, its goal is to mislead massive amounts of people. And I think there's different avenues of doing that. I think it's systemic. Okay? I think there's a whole system out there that is meant to enslave either people's minds, their souls, their emotions, right? And a lot of it is just distraction. It's distraction away from your purpose, distraction away from your goal, distraction away from your essence, distraction away from God. Really, because God is our source. God is our source. And I'm not going to take this religious or or spiritual in a biblical sense. I'm not going to take it that route, because everyone has their different beliefs, and I'm not preaching anything here, but I believe that we have a source, and our source is something that is rooted in, our Creator. If we're created in the image of God, then we have our Creator's genes, so to speak. And it would make sense that we would, by tapping into that nature and essence of where we come from, our Creator, that we would feel most at home. We would feel most wholesome. We would feel most at our most based, if you will, if you know what that means, our most based, point, our most base, it's almost like homeostasis. When we connect to God, when we connect to our essence, when we connect to our purpose, we are connecting to, we are becoming more normal. But when we get away from that, when we pay attention to the Meghan Markles, we pay attention to the Prince Harrys, when we pay attention to the royal families, and we get all distracted and we put them on the pedestal as opposed to God, you see, that's how the system works. That's how this systemic evil functions. It's like, hey, I'm going to use Meghan Markle. I'm going to use the royal family to distract massive amounts of people. And really anything can be a distraction. The term idolatry, all it really means is substitute. If you trace the etymology of the word, it just means substitute. An idol is a substitute. And what is it a substitute for? It could be a substitute for our essence. It could be a substitute for our humanity. Many things substitute for our character. Many things substitute for our personality, whatever. Substitute is a very interesting word, particularly in this context. Many things can be substitutes. But the essential thing that all of this, systemic distractions or substitutes for is substitutes for God, really. Because if God is essence and God is source and God is life, so to speak, in the sense that a blade of grass gets its life from the dirt and the ground, the blade of grass is connected. When the blade of grass becomes disconnected from the ground and the dirt, then it no longer has life, you see. So all these things are distractions from our essence. And this is why people get so lost. This is why people become cattle. This is why people become hamsters on a wheel that never goes anywhere. This is why people are trapped in the system. This is why people are stuck in the matrix, because they're distracted by this kind of thing, right? Now, let me talk about Meghan Markle from a red pill perspective. Let me talk about Meghan Markle from a manosphere perspective. First of all, I believe that Harry is cucked in a way. I believe that most, I don't know if I should say all, but most modern women have learned how to manipulate men psychologically, emotionally. This is part of female, quote unquote, female empowerment. This is how it works. Through quote unquote female empowerment, men are led astray. Men are led, away and out from their essence. You could call that essence God, or you could say even their essential masculinity. In a gynocentric feminist world, men are duped or tempted to succumb to femininity, to female power, to female rulership over their own base essential masculinity. This is essentially what feminism has done, is it said, hey, wait a minute, your masculinity is toxic, therefore you should stop being masculine. This is what feminism asks of men. So what I see, not only from body language, but just the whole story, and I would say the marriage between Harry and Meghan Markle is her story. It's not his story. It's not the story of the royal family. It's her story. It's about her. And the press being, left-leaning, which, again, I could get into conspiracy theories of why that is. But the mainstream world, unfortunately, because of Hollywood and because of who owns the press, who owns these major news stations, who syndicate on all the major channels, the people who own that have a vested interest in pushing leftist ideology. I'm not going to get into why that is. That's not the type of video this is. You can look that up on your own. It is what it is. The truth is out there. The proof is out there. So this is going to be pushed. Feminism is going to come to the forefront. And this is how I've always said how feminism dupes people and how feminism lies to people, is it does this victimhood leverage, sort of lie where it says, we're victims. We're all victims. Oh, and that's so great that Meghan Markle is overcoming her depression and she's becoming a princess. Of course she's not. I don't think that she even qualifies to become a princess. But if somehow Harry dies and all the other people die, Harry could, or not Harry, but William dies, and because I think he's the next to the throne or whatever, and all the other ones die or something like that, then somehow Harry could become king, and Meghan Markle could become a princess. So it's possible that she could become a princess. But here's the thing. It's every girl's dream to become a princess, right? It's every girl just dreams, I want to marry a prince. And why? It's because of hypergamy. Period. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Women want the top guy. They want the alpha. They want number one. Harry isn't number one. William is ahead of Harry, but Harry's better looking. Okay? And that makes up for the fact he's not number one, right? Of course, William isn't really a very good-looking guy at all, really. And I guess he's got a charm to him, but objectively, he's not amazing. Harry's a better-looking guy. He's more traditionally masculine. And that matters. That matters. Looks, money, status matters. Of course, the status and the money of these guys are through the roof, and the fact that they're royal family. This is why every young woman, because they, human, I would say base human nature is it wants to be prideful and it wants to be uplifted, and I'm the winner and I'm the best, and a lot of it is pride, and pride goes before a fall. Pride goes before a fall. Not only that, pride is really, there's nothing really amazing about pride. It's not that great. There's a lot of things that are better than pride. Love is better than pride. Humility, I believe, is better than pride. Caring for others is better than pride. Serving others is better than pride. And that's really not something that, you would think that there's when it comes to, we're talking about England here, when it comes to their ancient rules of chivalry, service is at the top, and sacrifice for your countrymen is kind of at the top of their lore, if you will. It's part of chivalry, right? Of course, chivalry really doesn't essentially just have to do with men being chivalrous for women. Chivalry is a much broader term that really has to do with sacrifice for your country, and it includes women. People just are very uneducated. They don't read, so they think that chivalry simply means being humbling yourself to uplift a woman or protect women, whatever. But no, chivalry is actually a term that is more broad than that. And a lot of the ancient kind of code, if you will, of these, there used to be actual knights, in the UK, in England, and part of their code was service for their country, and that was held in high honor and regard, and actually many of them historically really did lay down their lives for their country, literally in battle and whatever, and a lot of it was pride, a lot of it was really silly, kind of stupid. They shouldn't have done it, but we can get really caught up in that kind of stuff, and obviously, the whole world is enraptured with these people who don't do anything. They were just born. But a lot of it is because they have this concept of, nobility, and that has to do with chivalry, and it has to do with these people are somehow better than us because they're royal, and we're supposed to look up to them like there are, it should be the goal that we want to be these people or something, and really which is just silly, because like I said, pride goes before a fall. Pride is not. Anyway, the reason why I say all this is because there's a lot of selfishness when it comes to this kind of thing, and the media does look for scenarios like this. Kate, William and Kate. Kate is kind of, I think she's British, and she's quiet, and she's not a media darling. Meghan Markle was in Hollywood. She was 39 when she met him. I think I made a video on this before, but she's a feminist wet dream, or she's a post-wall woman's wet dream, because she was married before, so she got to have all her fun. She had a marriage before she met Harry, and she was 39, which is and she's 39. I think now she's 40 or 41. Let me Google how old she is. So she's had all her fun. I'm sure she had her thought day. She grew up in Hollywood. Hello. She was an actress, and Hollywood is basically modern day Sodom. So all these young women in Hollywood are out sleeping around. They're all, oh, she's 39 now. I think they got married 2 years ago. So she was 37 when they got married. Actually, about 3 years ago now. So she was 36 when they got married. That's still over the hill, man. I'm not sure how old Kate was when she married William, but they were a lot younger. So she's 39 now, which ain't no spring chicken, and she's pregnant now. 39. Actually, I think my mom had me when she was 39. So having a baby at 39 it's pretty old. It's pretty past. It's really past the prime. I mean, when a woman's prime is probably from, prime to have kids is probably from 18 to 24, really. Hate to say it, but that's kind of the truth. 39 is very old to have a kid. It really, really is. Now, I will say she's taking good care of herself. She's in very good shape, and she looks very healthy. But she's post-wall, man. She's not post-wall. She hasn't hit the wall yet, obviously physically. But she's old. She's 39, and she'll age very well. She doesn't have very big boobs. She doesn't have a big ass. She's in shape. She obviously eats well and exercises, so she will age very gracefully. Okay, and she might not hit the wall until she's 60. Some women, when they really, really take care of themselves, they don't really hit the wall until they're old. And there's some women who are even kind of hot at 60. It's rare, but it's there. So, I hear a lot of guys say that she's a 10 out of 10. To me, she's a 8. I'll give her an 8. I've said she's a 7 before, but I was being a little critical. I'd probably give her an 8, maybe even an 8.2 to 8.4, something like that, out of 10. She's good looking. She's not the hottest thing I've ever seen, but she's very good looking. She's traditionally pretty. She's traditionally good looking, and she's got a little color to her. But again, she had her fun when she was younger, I'm sure. And then she was in Hollywood for a lot of years, and she got married to somebody else, and then she met Harry somehow. Bing, bang, boom, they got married. And so this is, at 36, now she's 39 and getting pregnant. This is propaganda. And this is why I titled this video Meghan Markle Propaganda, because it's the perfect setup for all, the women out there to be like, oh, Meghan Markle did it. She's 39. I can go have my fun now that I'm 24, and I can go have fun for the next 15 years and end up like Meghan Markle. Like, first of all, no, you can't. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, the odds of marrying a prince, I mean, it's not even possible now. I think they're all married. I don't even think there are any more princes. There's only 2 of them, right? So, it's impossible odds. But he serves as an example of, a woman fulfilling her hypergamy. That's all it is. That's all the, Cinderella story, all the Disney stories and all the children's stories where the prince comes and rescues her and marries her and all. That's all hypergamy. Like, Walt Disney knew what the hell he was doing. Of course, I think a lot of these, Walt Disney, children's books and movies or whatever were taken from fairy tales. But they knew, that they knew hypergamy. I mean, that's all it is. A female marrying a prince, all it is hypergamy. So she serves as the example of the one who made it through and hit the hypergamy jackpot. She hit the hypergamy lottery at 26, and now she's 29 and having a baby. So all the women out there are looking at her and going, oh, she did it. I can do it. So you see how that evil works. You see how the propaganda, you see how the Matrix sort of traps people into idolizing false deities, idolizing false hope, false dreams. So this is how I look at this. This is how I look at it. Yeah, I'm going to end it there for this one. Stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to make a part 2 and follow up on this. Appreciate you listening. It's been Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.